They told you success was about working harder than everyone else, about waking up at 5 a.m., grinding while they sleep, chasing the dream until your hands bleed. They said success was about money, about titles, about proving something to the world. But what they never told you is that most people who chase success this way never find it. Because success isn't about what you do, it's about who you become. They lied to you when they said it was all about hustle. They never told you that silence builds empires, that patience grows strength, that stillness reveals truth. They never told you that a man can work endlessly and still live in poverty, not because the world is unfair, but because his mind is. The greatest war is not fought with weapons, but with thoughts. Your thoughts are your soldiers, and your beliefs are your generals. If they are weak, confused, or divided, you will lose every battle before it even begins. Napoleon Hill called it the secret. Neville Goddard called it imagination. James Allen called it the mind garden. They were all speaking about the same thing. The inner world creates the outer world, but you weren't taught that. You were taught to chase results, not roots, to focus on the fruit, not the soil. You were told that more effort equals more success, but you've already seen people working themselves to exhaustion and never moving forward. So what's missing? It's the understanding that every action is born from a belief. Every result is a reflection of a state of mind. If your mind is scattered, your life will be too. The man who succeeds is not necessarily the one who works the hardest. He's the one who believes the deepest. Because the world does not respond to desperation, it responds to conviction. When you know who you are and what you're meant to do, you stop chasing and start creating. Think about it. Every great achievement in history began as an invisible thought in someone's mind, a dream no one else could see, a vision so strong it pulled reality toward it. The airplane, the light bulb, the internet, none of these existed until someone imagined them into being. And yet, most people live as though imagination is childish. They abandon the one tool that built civilizations. They trade their creative power for routine, their vision for distraction. They worship logic but forget that every logical system began as an idea born in the mind of someone who dared to think differently. Success, then, isn't about discovering something new. It's about rediscovering the power that's been within you since the beginning. You've already seen glimpses of it, moments where you believed in something so deeply that everything seemed to align. Moments where you felt guided, unstoppable, clear. That's not luck, that's creation. But somewhere along the way, you forgot. You were taught to doubt yourself. You were told your dreams were too big, your goals too unrealistic. You were trained to play small, to fit in, to think in straight lines. And in doing so, you handed over the pen that writes your life story. It's time to take it back. Because success isn't something you chase, it's something you remember. It's the realization that you are already the cause, not the effect. When you truly understand that your thoughts shape your world, you stop trying to control the outside and begin mastering the inside. Your circumstances don't define you, they reflect you. If you see chaos, it's because there is chaos within. If you see peace, it's because you've found it inside yourself. And the moment you align your inner world with what you desire, the outer world has no choice but to follow. That's the real secret. Not the kind you find in books or seminars, but the truth you awaken to when you sit alone with your thoughts and realize, I am the source of my own reality. Look at the people who seem to attract everything they want. They're not necessarily smarter or luckier. They've simply mastered the one thing most ignore, their inner state. They think and feel as if what they desire already belongs to them. And because their mind is certain, their world conforms to that certainty. It's not magic, it's law, the same law that governs gravity, energy, and growth. As within, so without. As you think, so you become. You can't fake it. You can't cheat it. You can't pretend to believe while doubting deep down. The universe responds to truth, not words. And your truth is measured not by what you say, but by what you expect. You can repeat affirmations all day, but if you secretly expect failure, that's what you'll receive. You can visualize wealth, but if you feel unworthy of it, it will never stay. because reality mirrors not your wishes, but your beliefs. So the first step to true success is not action, it's alignment. Align your thoughts with what you want, your feelings with what you desire, and your actions will naturally follow. That's why people who understand this principle seem effortless. They don't struggle to become successful. They simply become aligned with success itself. They are success, and so success must find them. Now, let's make this practical. If you wake up tomorrow and think nothing's working, you will unconsciously act in ways that confirm that belief. You'll miss opportunities because you're not tuned to see them. You'll hesitate when you should move. You'll doubt when you should decide. But if you wake up and say, everything is working in my favor, even when it isn't obvious, you'll start to notice doors where there used to be walls. Your energy will shift, your words will change, and the world will mirror that change back to you. It's not about pretending, it's about perceiving differently. Your focus creates your filter. If you focus on failure, you'll find reasons to quit. If you focus on growth, you'll find reasons to keep going. That's why faith is so powerful. Not faith in something outside of you, but faith in your own creative power. Because faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It's the invisible force that keeps you walking even when you can't yet see the road. And that's where most people stop. They give up when the results don't appear immediately. They think the universe has ignored them, when in truth, it's simply reorganizing itself around their new vibration. If you could see the unseen, you'd realize how close you already are. Every decision you make in faith is a signal to the universe that you're ready. Every thought you refuse to entertain that contradicts your vision strengthens your creation. So keep going, keep believing, keep shaping the invisible. Because the day will come when everything you imagined will stand before you, tangible and real, and you'll remember this moment. You'll remember when it was just a thought. And that's when you'll understand. They didn't lie about success because they wanted to deceive you. They lied because they didn't know. Because few ever discover the real truth that success is not a destination, it's a reflection. They told you to chase the world. But the ones who find peace, who rise, who build legacies that outlast their names, they chase understanding. They don't run after success. They become it. And once you become it, you can't lose it. Because no one can take away what's built within. True success is invisible first. It lives in your patience, in your discipline, in your refusal to be moved by appearances. It's in the nights you spend rebuilding your faith when everything seems to fall apart. It's in the silence when you choose belief over fear, creation over complaint, purpose over panic. That's success, not the money, not the applause, not the validation. Those are side effects. The real prize is the prisons, not the money, the person you become. Every great teacher who ever lived tried to tell us this. They spoke in different languages, used different words, wore different clothes, but they all said the same thing. What you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. And that's why you have to be so careful about what you allow into your mind. Every complaint plants a seed. Every doubt waters it. Every worry feeds it. And soon you wonder why your life grows thorns instead of fruit. The mind doesn't judge. It doesn't say, that's a good thought, or that's a bad one. It simply says, so be it. Whatever you dwell upon, it makes real. So the only question that matters is, what are you imagining right now? Are you picturing yourself as limited, struggling, waiting for a lucky break? Or are you seeing yourself as already becoming who you were meant to be? Because your outer world is a mirror, not of what you want, but of what you are. This is why people who win the lottery often lose it all. Their circumstances changed, but their mindset didn't. They still believed they were unworthy, unready, unfit for abundance, and so they unconsciously created chaos to return to what felt familiar. The world cannot stay beyond the limits of your belief. If you want to rise higher, you must expand your self-image. You must decide that the life you dream of is not a fantasy. It's a memory of who you already are. That's the hidden teaching every sage, prophet, and philosopher hinted at. You don't attract what you want. You reveal what you already carry. Success is simply your truest self uncovered. It's not outside of you. It's beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and imitation. So peel them off. Stop pretending to be smaller than you are. Stop apologizing for wanting more. Stop thinking that humility means hiding your power. True humility is knowing that your greatness comes from something divine within you and choosing to honor it, not bury it. There's a quiet confidence that comes from this realization. You stop competing. You stop comparing. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, think differently. You no longer react to every storm because you understand the ocean doesn't fear the waves. The man who knows who he is can stand in the middle of chaos and still remain calm. Because he's not ruled by appearances, he rules them. He doesn't ask, what will happen? He declares, this is what will be. And life listens. That's the part they never told you. Life listens to conviction. It bends to the will of the one who dares to decide. Every great leader, inventor, artist, thinker, they all shared one thing, the courage to believe when there was no proof. They trusted the invisible. They moved before the path appeared. They built bridges of faith over rivers of doubt, and you can do the same, because the same mind that imagined electricity, music, poetry, and flight is within you. The same energy that moves the planets moves through you. You are not separate from creation. You are creation experiencing itself through thought. So when you think you're stuck, you're not. You're simply imagining limitation. When you think you've failed, you haven't. You're simply standing in a chapter that isn't the ending. When you think you've lost your way, you haven't. You're simply being guided through the detour that leads to destiny. If only you could see the full map. If only you could glimpse how perfectly the pieces fit together, you would stop doubting. You would stop rushing. You would start trusting that everything, yes, everything is working in your favor. That's not blind optimism. It's wisdom. Because when your mind is aligned with truth, the world can't help but catch up. That's why the rich get richer and the peaceful get more peace. They're not lucky. They're aligned. They've learned to stay in the vibration of what they desire, instead of falling back into the frequency of fear. So ask yourself right now, what am I aligning with? Am I living from faith or from fear? From confidence or from doubt? From creation or reaction? You don't have to wait for tomorrow to change. You can shift in this very moment. Decide now that you will see yourself differently. Decide now that you will speak differently. Decide now that you will no longer let the old story dictate the new you, because every time you think a thought, you cast a vote for your future. And those votes add up. They become habits. Habits become beliefs. Beliefs become reality. That's how destiny is written. Not by fate, but by focus. Not by chance, but by choice. So choose deliberately. Choose to believe that your time is not coming, it's already here. Choose to believe that what you've prayed for is already forming behind the scenes. Choose to walk with the quiet power of someone who knows that the unseen is more real than the seen. And when doubt tries to whisper because it will remind yourself, doubt builds nothing, fear creates nothing. But faith moves mountains, not because mountains are meant to move, but because you were meant to. This is the truth they never told you. The truth that will set you free from the noise, the fear, the endless striving. Success was never about what they said. It was never about working harder, running faster, or shouting louder. It was about knowing who you are, knowing what you're capable of, knowing that the same power that shaped the stars shapes your path. So, let them chase, you create, let them talk, you move, let them doubt, you believe. Because while they're waiting for the world to change, you'll already be building a new one from the inside out. And one day, they'll call you lucky. They'll call you blessed. They'll ask, how did you do it? And you'll smile, because you'll know you didn't chase success. You remembered it. And that, my friend, is the truth they never told you. You remembered it. And that was the moment everything began to shift. Because once you remember who you are, you stop chasing shadows. You stop looking for validation in people who don't even understand their own worth. You stop waiting for permission to begin. You realize you already had the power the whole time. It was never missing, only forgotten. That's when life starts to respond differently. Doors you thought were closed start to open, not because the world changed, but because you did. Your energy speaks before you even say a word. You walk into a room and people feel something different. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's the quiet power of someone who has come home to themselves. You start to understand that success isn't a mountain to climb, it's a mirror to clean. The more you clear away fear, doubt, and limitation, the more clearly you see what was always there, the reflection of your highest self. And that's why you can't compare your journey to anyone else's. Because they're cleaning their own mirror. They have their own smudges, their own lessons, their own pace. Some people will shine quickly. Others will take longer to polish the glass. But the reflection waiting behind it is just as magnificent. Once you grasp this, competition fades away. You realize there is no race, no finish line, no opponent. You are only ever running against your own disbelief. The only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you keep repeating about why you can't have it. Change the story, and the story changes you. You can tell yourself you're unlucky, or you can tell yourself you're guided. You can tell yourself life is unfair, or you can tell yourself life is responding perfectly to your vibration. Both stories will be true depending on which one you believe. That's the real meaning of faith. It's not blind optimism. It's intelligent trust. It's knowing that even when you can't see the entire staircase, the next step will appear the moment you lift your foot. That's creation in motion. And every time you act from that knowing, every time you choose faith over fear, you are reprogramming reality itself. That's when momentum takes over. You start to notice the synchronicities, a phone call, a message, a random idea that leads you exactly where you needed to go. It's not coincidence, it's confirmation. Life is answering your new state of being because energy moves towards certainty. The universe listens to the one who knows what they want and refuses to waver. The one who decides, truly decides, and never looks back. You've felt it before. Those moments when everything seems to flow, when the right opportunities just appear, when time feels different. That's alignment. That's what happens when your thoughts, emotions, and actions move as one. It's not luck, it's law. And here's the truth. You don't have to force that state. You return to it by removing what blocks it. Every doubt, every fear, every limiting belief is just static in your signal. Clear it, and the broadcast becomes clean. The message or intention goes out without interference, and the world echoes it back. That's why people who live in gratitude seem so magnetic. They're not pretending to be happy. They're tuning their energy to the frequency of receiving. They focus on what's working, and so more begins to work. They appreciate the little things, and suddenly the little things multiply. Gratitude is the proof that you already have abundance, and abundance loves being recognized. The more you thank life, the more life gives you to thank it for. And slowly, something shifts inside you. You stop asking, when will it happen? You start saying, it's already happening. That simple change in language transforms everything because it changes the vibration behind your words. The man who says, it's coming, is still waiting. The man who says, it's here, begins to live as if it already is, and creation rushes to catch up. You begin to walk differently. You stop chasing outcomes and start embodying them. You speak with the authority of someone who already has what they once prayed for. You move through challenges with peace because you've realized that setbacks aren't signs of failure, they're proof of movement. The wave rises before it falls, and you are simply rising. Even pain begins to look different. You stop resenting it. You start understanding it. You see that pain was never there to punish you. It was there to polish you, to carve away what isn't you, so what is can shine through. Every storm becomes sacred when you realize it's clearing space for something greater. Every delay becomes divine timing. Every ending becomes an invitation for a new beginning. And soon, life feels lighter. You no longer fight it, you flow with it. You understand that resistance creates friction, but surrender creates miracles. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over, handing your worry back to wisdom, your control back to clarity. It means trusting that the same intelligence that grows the trees and turns night into day can also guide your path if you'll stop trying to steer it from fear. This is what success really feels like. Not anxiety, not striving, but peace, a deep inner knowing that no matter what happens outside, you are already whole inside. And once you reach that state, you attract without effort. You create without conflict. You move through the world like a calm ocean, vast, steady, powerful, because you've remembered who you are. And when you remember that, nothing can threaten you anymore. Not failure, not loss, not time. You become untouchable, unshakable, unstoppable. The truth is, success doesn't change you, it reveals you. It shows you what you were made of all along. The grind, the waiting, the heartbreak, they weren't detours. They were the training ground for your awakening. Every moment you thought was wasted was preparing you. Every door that closed was redirecting you. Every struggle that broke you was breaking open your real power. And now, here you are remembering again. The world will try to pull you back into forgetting. It will tell you that you need more to be enough. It will try to measure your worth by numbers and noise. But you'll know better, because you've seen what's behind the curtain. You've touched the truth. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you radiate. It comes not from what you get, but from what you give. Not from how much you control, but from how deeply you trust. And the moment you live from that place, everything changes. Everything changes because your energy changes. And when your energy changes, your entire life begins to rearrange itself around your new vibration. People who used to drain you fall away. Opportunities that once seemed impossible start appearing. The things that once felt heavy begin to move effortlessly, because the outer world is just listening to your inner command. You stop forcing and start flowing. You stop begging life for crumbs because you finally understand you are the baker. You don't need to chase the bread when you own the recipe. That's when discipline becomes devotion. You no longer push yourself from fear. You move from purpose. You don't wake up early because you're afraid to fall behind. You wake up early because you can't wait to create. You stop working for approval and start working from abundance. And the irony is, that's when success finally starts chasing you, because success loves clarity. It loves a mind that knows what it wants. It loves a heart that's already grateful for it. When some of you live that way, life becomes a mirror of your faith, not your fear. People will start to ask, "What's your secret?" And you'll smile because you'll know it's not a secret at all. It's simply understanding how life actually works. It's living by the invisible laws that most ignore. The law of belief, the law of assumption, the law of cause and effect. You'll see that everything has been responding to you all along. Your emotions, your words, your state of being. You were never waiting for the universe. It was waiting for you. You'll start noticing how your thoughts ripple outward, how one idea can shift an entire day, how one decision can reroute an entire destiny, because nothing is small. Every word carries weight. Every thought plants a seed. Every feeling shapes the soil of tomorrow. So, you begin to guard your mind like a sacred garden. You pull the weeds before they grow. You water the dreams daily, not occasionally. You understand that patience is not waiting. Patience is sustained belief. It's holding faith steady, even when the evidence hasn't caught up yet. And in time, it always does. You realize that the people who told you to be realistic were only speaking from their own limitations. They weren't trying to hurt you, they just couldn't see what you could see. Visionaries are rarely understood by those still ruled by appearances. But that's okay. You were never meant to convince them. You were meant to become the proof. When you rise, you give others permission to rise. When you believe, you light a path for those still lost in doubt. That's how leaders are made, not by titles, but by example. By living the truth so clearly that others can feel it before they even understand it. And soon, you'll notice something beautiful. You no longer crave success for yourself alone. You start wanting it for others. You want to see people awaken, to see them remember, because the more light you spread, the brighter your world becomes. Abundance expands when it's shared. That's the paradox. The more you give from fullness, the more you receive. because giving is proof that you already have. You'll find peace in that, the kind of peace that can't be bought, broken, or borrowed. It's the peace that comes when you no longer need anything to validate your worth. You'll still pursue goals, but not because you're empty. You'll pursue them because you're overflowing, and from that place, everything you touch grows. You'll begin to notice life moving with you, not against you. You'll walk into rooms and feel guided to the right words, the right people, the right moments. You'll catch yourself smiling for no reason, because deep down you'll know it's all working perfectly, even the delays, even the detours, even the disappointments. They're not roadblocks, they're redirections. You'll learn to say thank you before the blessing appears, because you'll finally trust that every unanswered prayer is just life preparing you for something better. And then, one day, you'll look back and realize you've become the person you used to dream of being, not because you hustled harder, but because you healed deeper. Not because you forced success, but because you allowed it. Not because you changed who you were, but because you remembered who you are. That's the real power. To move through the world with quiet certainty, to know that every challenge is a test of alignment, not a threat to your destiny. To meet life's noise with inner silence and still know all is well, because all truly is, because all truly is. Even the things that don't make sense yet, even the moments that seem unfair, unclear, or unbearable, they all belong. They are not mistakes, they are messages. Each one carving something into you that could not be learned any other way. You begin to understand that life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you, through you, and sometimes in spite of you. The universe is not punishing you, it is preparing you. Every detour is direction. Every delay is protection. Every ending is evolution in disguise. The storm that once made you curse will one day make you grateful, because without it, you never would have discovered the strength that lives quietly inside you. The strength that isn't loud or boastful, the kind that endures, that bends but never breaks. It's the same strength that turns wounds into wisdom, that transforms pain into purpose. And that purpose, once awakened, can never go back to sleep. That's why most people never reach real success. They avoid the very moments meant to awaken them. They run from the discomfort that's trying to build them. They want the mountain's view without the mountain's climb. But every elevation demands transformation. The version of you who started the journey can't be the one who finishes it. Growth requires shedding. To rise, you must release. Release the fear of judgment. Release the need for control. Release the attachment to outcomes, because when your hands are clenched around what you think you need, they're too full to receive what's truly meant for you. Letting go is not losing, it's trusting. It's saying, I no longer need to carry what doesn't serve my becoming. And as you let go, something amazing happens. You begin to float, not because life becomes easier, but because you become lighter. You start to walk with grace. You start to move with peace. You start to understand that alignment is not found in force, it's found in flow. The most powerful river doesn't fight the rocks in its path. It moves around them, over them, through them, and in time, even the rocks yield to its persistence. That's how your life begins to feel. Peaceful, yet unstoppable. Calm, yet powerful. Because you've stopped reacting and started responding. You've stopped trying to control the current and learn to become it. That's mastery. Not controlling the world, but mastering your response to it. Not manipulating the outcome, but maintaining your vibration no matter the circumstance. Because reality bends to the one who refuses to break. It's easy to be calm when life is kind. But the real test, the one that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, is staying centered when the storm arrives. When everything you built starts shaking, when nothing makes sense, when every reason to doubt appears before you, that's when your faith must stand taller than your fear. Because success, real success, is not a straight line. It's a spiral, each challenge bringing you closer to your truth if you dare to face it instead of flee from it. It's the fire that forges gold. And those who run from the heat never become what they were meant to be. So if life is testing you, take it as a compliment. You're being trusted with transformation. The universe only challenges those ready to evolve. There's beauty in that realization, because the moment you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what is this teaching me, the lesson reveals itself, and with it, new power, the power to see through appearances, the power to remain unshaken in uncertainty, the power to trust that what's for you cannot pass you. From that place, you stop chasing signs because you become one. Your very presence begins to change rooms. Your calm becomes contagious. Your peace becomes influence. And people feel it even if they can't explain it, because you're no longer speaking to the world from fear. You're speaking from truth. And truth has a sound. It resonates. It cuts through noise. It awakens others who are ready to remember too. That's leadership, not standing above, but standing within. Not shouting louder, but shining clearer, because real light doesn't compete with darkness. It just exists and darkness disappears. And that's what you'll become, a reminder, a living example that success is not a destination, but a demonstration. That abundance is not acquired, it's allowed. That peace is not found, it's remembered. You'll start seeing that every day is an opportunity to practice this truth. When someone offends you, that's your classroom. When a plan fails, that's your test. When fear returns, that's your invitation to faith. You'll stop labeling moments as good or bad and start seeing them as necessary. Because when you're aligned with truth, even pain becomes sacred. It becomes part of your prayer. You'll begin to say thank you, even for the tears. Because now you understand nothing is wasted. Everything is woven into the masterpiece of your becoming. And one day, you'll look around and realize you are living the life that used to only exist in your mind. But it won't feel like a shock. It will feel natural. Because your outer world will finally match your inner one. You won't celebrate from ego. You'll celebrate from gratitude. You'll know you didn't get lucky. You became aligned. You'll smile quietly, not because you finally arrived, but because you finally remembered there was never anywhere else to be. That is the peace that passes understanding. That is the success that cannot fade. It's not built on approval or applause or validation. It's built on being. And when you live from being, you can never fall, because there's nowhere to fall to. You're already home. You see, the greatest lie they ever told you wasn't just about success. It was about you. They made you believe that you were small, that you were just another person trying to make it, that your dreams were too far, your voice too quiet, your reach too short. But the truth is, you were never ordinary. You've just been conditioned to forget. From the moment you were born, you carried something extraordinary inside you, a seed of infinite potential. The world tried to bury it with fear, with failure, with noise. But seeds grow in darkness. And you were never meant to stay buried. You've always known there was more, even when you doubted it, even when the world told you to be realistic. Something in you refused to die. That whisper inside you, that's your purpose trying to be heard. And the fact that it hasn't left you, even after all this time, means it's not done with you yet. Most people live their whole lives running from that voice. They drown it out with distractions, with routine, with excuses. But you're different. You wouldn't be here, reading this, listening to this, feeling this, if something in you wasn't ready to awaken. So let's wake it up. You've spent long enough believing that success belongs to someone else, to the lucky, to the talented, to the chosen few. But success doesn't choose people. It answers those who decide. The moment you truly decide that your life will no longer be a reflection of fear, but a declaration of faith, everything changes. Because decision is power. Not wishing, not waiting, deciding. The universe doesn't move for the hesitant. It moves for the certain. You've got to understand life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. Every thought, every feeling, every choice is an order you send out into creation. And creation always delivers what you truly believe you deserve. So stop asking for permission to become who you already are. Stop apologizing for your potential. Stop shrinking yourself so others feel comfortable in your presence. You weren't sent here to fit in. You were sent here to stand out. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your truth, your fire, your voice, And you will never find peace until you start walking in that truth, because deep down you already know comfort is a cage. It may look safe, but it kills your potential quietly, day by day. And one day, if you stay there long enough, you'll look back and realize that the life you settled for was just a shadow of the one you were meant to live. So don't settle, not for approval, not for convenience, not for the illusion of safety. Safety isn't real. Growth is, and growth will always demand discomfort. It will demand that you face yourself, your fears, your excuses, your stories, because everything you want lives on the other side of who you used to be. And when you face that version of yourself, the one that's scared, uncertain, doubtful, don't hate it, thank it, because it got you this far. But it can't take you further. You can't build your future while clinging to your past. You can't rise while replaying your failures. You can't receive new blessings while holding on to old pain. Let it go, all of it. The guilt, the shame, the comparison, the fear. They were never yours to keep, only lessons to learn from. You've got to empty your hands before you can receive what's next. And what's next is greater than you can imagine. Because once you understand who you are, truly understand it, everything around you begins to rearrange. Opportunities show up, people align. The path appears, not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. The mirror finally reflects the image of someone who believes again. And belief is contagious. It shifts energy. It rewires destiny. The man who believes is unstoppable. The woman who believes is unshakable. Because belief doesn't wait for proof, it creates it. Every mountain bows to belief. Every limitation breaks under its weight. Every dream begins the moment you stop saying one day and start saying today. Today, not when it's perfect, not when it's easy, not when you feel ready. Now. Because waiting for the perfect moment is how potential dies. But acting in faith, that's how legacies are born. The truth is, there is no right time. There's only the time you choose to rise. And you right now are standing on that edge, between who you were and who you could become, between memory and possibility, between fear and freedom. So jump, the wings will appear when you do. That's the irony of life. It rewards the bold, not the prepared. The universe doesn't care about your doubts. It responds to your decision. And once you decide that you are worthy, that you are ready, that you are enough, it begins to conspire in your favor. You'll see signs. You'll meet people. You'll stumble into moments that feel too perfect to be coincidence, because it was never coincidence. It was alignment. Everything starts to connect. Every failure starts to make sense. Every closed door starts to reveal its purpose. You realize nothing was wasted, not the pain, not the waiting, not the silence. It was all preparation, because greatness is never built in the spotlight. It's forged in the unseen, in the quiet moments where no one is clapping, no one is watching, and yet you keep going anyway. That's where real success is born, not in applause, but in endurance. Not in the reward, but in the refinement. So, don't curse your challenges. Bless them. They're carving you into the person you were meant to be. The diamond doesn't complain about pressure. It becomes it. And you're becoming something extraordinary, something the world needs. So keep walking, keep building, keep believing, even when it hurts, even when it feels slow, even when no one understands you, because one day they will. One day, they'll see what you saw before it existed. They'll call it overnight success, not knowing how many nights you stayed awake planting seeds in silence. But you'll know the truth. That success was never a destination. It was a transformation. It wasn't about arriving. It was about awakening. And you are awake now. You see the game for what it is. You see the illusion for what it was. And now, you hold the pen, so write something worth remembering. Build something worth living for. Love something worth fighting for. Because your story isn't over. It's just beginning. And when the world asks how you did it, how you rose from nothing, how you turned pain into purpose, how you created something out of faith, you'll smile and say, I stopped chasing what I already was. Because that's the truth they never told you. You were never becoming successful. You were simply remembering that you already are. And once you remember that truly remember, no one and nothing can ever take it away. That's the power they never taught you. That's the freedom they never explained. That's the secret they never wanted you to find. You are the creator. You are the dream. You are the proof. So go and live like it.